there is nobody in my family who's from this art background or who's into movies or anything. So it was little too much for me to dream. And you're not supposed to overdo anything and you're not supposed to underdo anything. You need to just deliver what is required. I had to do a study on how to control my
Yeah.
expressions in the first place. That
Mm-hmm.
itself was a big task.
Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to Reach Her podcast. We hear you, and this is a platform for all budding women out there. This is Madhumati here with yet another beautiful guest. Today we have Kavya Suresh, a familiar face from her movies of Oremugam, Kamuki, and Tirumanam. Let's welcome her. Hello, Kavya. How are you?
Hi. I'm good, Madhumati. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much. So, how are your days
Great.
going? How are you keeping yourself occupied? What's happening?
Well, we all know that we've been, having this lockdown situation for about like 150 days or something now.
Yeah.
So initially, I would say that, it is kind of boring. And even I was thinking how we're going to handle this whole situation. But then it's good to have a break. That's one thing. So
Yeah.
I'm secretly kind of enjoying it. I wouldn't lie.
Okay.
But as days goes by, it kind of get difficult. I mean, a couple of months were a bit hard, but yeah, I would say that I'm just making a best out of this abandoned time. Yeah.
Yeah, it has become more like a lifestyle nowadays, right? I don't even feel like
Yes.
lockdown now.
Oh, absolutely. That's true.
Yeah. So tell us, Kavya, you were basically a dancer who turned into an actress. So how was this transition and what happened throughout the journey?
Yeah, I am. I'm still a performer, and I've been training in Bharatanatyam for like 20 years now. So dance is something that I'm really passionate about, and there is nobody in my family who's from this art background or who's into movies or anything. So it was little too much for me to dream, even in terms of dance or even in movies. So
Mm-hmm.
both the professions were a little, odd according to my family members.
Okay.
But then. Dance actually gave me a lot of exposure because being a performer is not an easy thing. When you go into the crowd and you go to the stage, you see a lot of people, there are
Yeah.
lights and there is music and you have to perform. So it's not an easy thing at all. And I think it's kind of similar when it comes to acting also because you face a lot of people
People,
while
yeah.
you're on set or even when you become a public figure or anything like that. So the journey was, in fact, very accidental, I would say, for me to come into acting. Um, because initially it was just like dance, I'm gonna become a performer, I'm gonna be like this, I had only that kind of ideas in my mind. But then I was performing at my hometown, Vaikim, and one of the producers spotted me, a Malayalam movie producer spotted me on stage,
Okay.
and he actually asked my dad if he would let me act in movies, and I was kind of excited because
Yeah.
who doesn't want to,
I
like,
know.
it's like a dream question. So I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm gonna give it a try to it, and that's how it started. And from then, I've been getting opportunities one after the other, and I thought that I should follow it.
Okay.
And if not for an actress, also I would have been in media because I kind of like the idea of making films, or to know technically like how to make a movie and things like
Okay.
that. So that's the reason I studied visual communication as well. So I
Okay.
thought that if I'm not going to become an actress, then I would become a director or a photographer or a
Okay. Something
DOP or
into the
something like that.
movies.
Yeah, something
Okay.
related to the movie. So I had that in my mind. So I would say that uh, it just accidentally happened, but then it was also a part of a plan. Yeah.
Okay. Something like, destiny. Like you wanted it and you got
Yeah.
it. So, so you said that you also you studied visual communication and you had this idea. But being from a background that is not much into art and this performance and all this, how did your parents react? Yeah, yeah. The director first approached your dad. How was their reaction? Like you wanted it, but what did they want?
Yeah, the thing is, while I was dancing itself, like when I was in school, I used to get opportunities to be on ads, like, this photo shoots and all that. So my parents, and my school was also very orthodox. So my parents were like, we don't know much about this. So, let she grow up and let she decide on her own if she wants to do it or not. So they didn't really let me go ahead with it. But then I did my Arangetram back in 2005, and we had this Esther actress Jay Bharati ma'am. She was a chief guest.
Okay.
She saw my performance and she was like kind of impressed, and she told my parents that she should like they have to let me continue dance, and she would actually help me go into the professional dancing field.
Okay.
So I actually joined her dance classes, and I used to travel to Nungambakkam every day to her house and learn dance, like every alternate day when I was in school.
Okay.
So she is a very popular actress, and she has received like numerous awards and stuffs. So whenever I used to go to her house, I used to be like, that itself is an inspiration. Like you see an actress, their house, you go to their ambience, the way they live, how they get respected. And that idea was there, that's where I would say that I started thinking of, okay, it's a good idea to be an actress or somewhere into the media field, that's how it started. And my parents were used to this question, like, will you let your daughter act, will you let her be into the movies and stuff. But they never expected that I would actually ask them to study visual communication, because I was a decent student. I got like 96% on my 12th standard and stuff. Okay. So my parents freaked out when I told them that I want to do Viscom, because according to their plan, they were like, I might become a chartered accountant, or someone into a very professional something like that. But my dad was a little concerned, but my mom and my brother, they both were very supportive. They actually thought that, why not let her explore? Because my dancing career, it just took a step ahead, like, one by one. It was kind of okay. So they kind of was hopeful about me, and they thought that maybe I should go ahead and experiment if that is what is meant to be, because not many of us get an opportunity sitting at home. People just fight for it. They just go, they go search for it. But I was getting an opportunity. So they were like, not many gets this, and maybe we should just let her do it. That's how that's how the whole thing started. And my family is kind of liberal. You just have to convince them. You just have to put the right idea.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, so it was okay.
So that was how your parents reacted. So once you started acting, and you're still a performer, you said you were still a performer. So how were you able to manage? Like before, it was like only dance. Like when it comes to your passion or career, you had only dance in your mind. But now that you have to share it with even movies and acting, how is that balancing? How are you keeping up with both?
Like the practice session is what gets hurt, when I go for shoots, because when you go for shoots, you just completely disappear for like a month or so, because the location might be somewhere, off from your studio space, from your practice space and all that. So I do tend to, miss few practice sessions and all that. But then as soon as I come back, I make sure that I get back on track. Like I practice in, and keep a track of my performances, because when a performance date is set, then it's like, how you attend a public exam. You just prepare everything, you practice every day and night. Or if you're going as a team, you form the team, you pull them, you rehearse with them. So I think I do prioritize both acting and dancing in equal ways. Like there is no in between for that. You cannot split in between. But being a dancer has helped me, help me when it comes to managing the set. Because you're already used to the crowd, and you're going to another set of crowd. So, that kind of relevances are there. So it's kind of fun. As long as you know how to manage it both, then it's okay.
Yeah, you were used to this already, this lights, this audience and performance, all these things you're used. But when you talk about performing on stage and performing in front of the camera, it's like totally a different thing. How was it for you, like during your first shoot, especially when you went on the sets for the first day and you see you have to act in front of the camera in front of so many people? How was that experience?
Uh, okay, the first camera experience was very scary because on stage you're a free spirit.
Yeah.
You actually put in all your energy there, and you have the whole stage for you. And I'm a solo performer. I mostly do solo shows, so the whole stage is for me. I just run around and dance. I just by the end of the performance, I'll be super drained.
Hmm.
But being an actor, you cannot do that.
Yeah.
You have a small frame and you have to be very constrained there. And you're not supposed to overdo anything and you're not supposed to underdo anything. You need to just deliver what is required. So that thing was very difficult for me because being a dancer, it is very hard to control my expressions.
Yeah.
I think maybe you can figure it out even now. I just tend to go overboard. So and I was not aware of all this camera angles or getting the light and too many technical things about a film set. I was not aware of it at all,
Okay.
and so it was a bit difficult. The uh, first few days of getting used to a film set was very very difficult.
Hmm.
And there was this movie Ode Mugam in
Hmm.
Malayalam, which I did, and I still remember there was this one shot, just one shot where the hero comes into a classroom, and I just have to flip and see. I just have to turn around and see. And I think it just went around for numerous takes
Okay.
because I was freaking out because there was a lot of crowd, and it's just a small expression, and I was not getting it, and there was a lot of pressure. So that's when I realized that dancing and acting are like two different zones.
Yeah.
Because when you dance, you can overact or you can do anything. But when you act, you have to do only what's required. And you need to be very observant and, get in the character and feel it and do it. And only then you can bring out what's, what's demanded.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's a little hard. Yeah. So I figured these things.
Because in dance your focus, like the audience focus is on dance, so if you have to show off your expression, you'll have to do it a bit more so that it gets highlighted. But in acting, the focus itself is on acting, so you will have to have that control.
Yeah, definitely.
So since it was a chance and you used that opportunity and you got into this, there must have been many times where you were like found it very hard, or you found, okay, I need to improvise here, and people would have told you, right, that guided you.
Yeah.
So how was that, like how was that process of being a noob to someone who's good at it?
I'm still learning. I would never say that I've done great things, but I'm still learning. I'm still on a phase. I am getting good projects now, and the journey to getting good projects was big because initially I wasn't aware. Like as I already mentioned, I didn't know how to put things right. I just knew that okay, something is going on and I have to fit in here, but I don't know what to do. So that phase was there. But luckily, I happened to work with good directors, and I had good co-artists who always used to come and tell me that this is what you have to do, and this is how a certain scene has to be performed. So focus on what is necessary and keep practicing it. If you think that it's it's a little difficult for you to memorize your dialogues or something, talk to the director or to the associate director, get your dialogues beforehand, study it, prepare it, and perform it in front of the mirror, or record your performance or whatever, or have someone who can be critical about your performance, do it, and then come to the set and improvise it. I had some good people who always like told me how you can improve. And I think that's how that's how I've been getting good opportunities right now. So I told you, right, journey.
Yeah. So what was the best advice or suggestion that you got? Like in anything, not just acting, but generally.
It's just be yourself. That was the best advice I've ever got in any situation. Like even in terms of dance or even in terms of movies or whatever. In terms of movies, it's like, sometimes you will have to act with a way too senior, actor.
Yeah.
And that time, you're not supposed to freak out or something. So you need to just be yourself. You need to calm down. You need to be confident about you. And then you need to deliver a performance. Because when you're performing, people don't actually see that, this is her first combination with this famous actor, and that's why she's scared of. They don't see all that. They just see that, okay, she's doing it or not. So when in my Tamil movie, especially for Thirumanam, Cheran sir actually always keep telling me this, like, don't look around, don't see, who you're acting with, who is opposite you, don't see anything. Just believe in yourself, just focus on yourself, and just do the job that's given to you and improvise it. Just work on improvising what's given to you. So I think that's one good thing I've been following.
I mean, I didn't know this be yourself advice would work even in acting, because in acting it's totally different thing, right? Like on screen you're totally not yourself, you're just that character.
That is on screen. That is on screen character. But even there you're having challenges, right? You have challenges. You may not be a person who is in the character. So for you to develop into that character, you need to accept few things. You need to be adaptable to it. So for that, you need to trust yourself. I can't be like, oh, can I do it? Nobody's going to at that point. So certain things work that way.
So you should have that thing in you to absorb it, and you must become that character, right? So you said that, like, how did this transition happen from Malayalam to Tamil movie? Like, first movie was Malayalam. Then how did you get an opportunity in Tamil? Like, just tell us about that story.
Yeah, I did 2 movies in Malayalam, and then I did another one as well. I finished shooting of the 3rd Malayalam movie, and the shoot was in like Pollachi and all those areas, and I came back to Chennai. And apparently there was a choreographer, there was a dance choreographer, ma'am. Her name is Sanjana. So she came to Chennai. I don't know why she came back then. So she came here and she just rang me and told me that I'm at Chennai, just come and meet me. And I was like, okay, I'll come. And then I went to meet her. Apparently she told me to, come meet her at a place. And I went there. It was on the 4th floor. I went there. And there were like a lot of slippers in front of a door, and I thought that she should be inside, because usually choreographers, they come with a team, the dancers team and all that. So I thought that this must be it, and I just went and knocked on the door. And one guy came and opened, and I was like, is Sajna ma'am inside? And he was like, no. He was kind of confused, and I was like, no. And then I heard her voice from the other door on the other side, and she was like, Kavya, I'm here. So I just ran to that side. So when I went and knocked on the door, I didn't know who was inside or who was there or anything. So apparently it was Cheran sir's office. And I went to knock that door, and Sajna ma'am was like, did anybody see you? Like that's where Cheran sir's office is. And she actually came to sign for Thirumanam movie as a choreographer. She was choreographing one song. So that's when she's telling me, and I was kind of excited. I was like, oh wow, is he here? Like, can I go get a picture with him? And she was like, yeah, come, I'll introduce you. And she introduced me to him, and I was like a fangirl. I went and clicked a picture with Cheran sir, and we all left for lunch. I mean, me and the choreographer, ma'am, we both left for lunch. And then, like, in an hour or so, she was getting a call. Like, while we were all together, she got a call, and it was from Cheran sir's office. And apparently they asked, the girl who came with you, is she still there? Like, is she interested in acting? And Sajna ma'am was like, yeah, she is with me right now. Do you want me to bring her? And I was like, yeah, bring her to the office. And I was like, okay. It was like so exciting, because it's very funny. I left home and I always keep texting my mom, whenever I go somewhere, I keep updating her, because my mom is so obsessed with the news, and she always keeps telling me, wherever you go, you have to update me. I'm scared. So I keep updating her. So I was telling her I'm meeting Sajna ma'am, and then after some time I'm sending her the picture with Cheran sir. I'm telling her mom, like I just met Cherin sir and all that. I just sent a picture to her. And then after a few minutes, I'm like, Amma, they just asked me to, come for an audition, look test tomorrow. And there is an audition apparently. My mom was like, what is this? What is going on? Like everything is happening like
Yeah.
just like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I went, met sir, and he just let me talk. He was like, tell me about yourself. And I was just randomly just saying something. I was excited, I was nervous, and altogether there was a lot of things. And he was just randomly recording it.
Mhm.
And then he stayed at me for some time, and then he was like, we would, probably have a look test tomorrow. And I was like, okay, I'll be there for the look test. And the next day was a look test, and they had a small audition. And I think the whole team was happy with whatever the audition results were. And like in a week or so, the shoot was starting.
Okay.
So I was so excited. I was like, wow, I'm in a movie now.
Okay.
So it was just a random lunch out that turned into a movie opportunity. So it's a good thing, yeah.
So that was totally out of the blue. Like it came out as a surprise to you.
Yeah, definitely.
So after that, was there like okay, that is one major incident. Like just like that, getting a movie chance and meeting such people and getting into it is really lucky. And apart from that, was there anything else like okay, I didn't know this was tough, or like any shocking moments? This was the happy side. Was there any shocking moments like that?
Uh, I mean, I think the whole of Tirumanam movie, everything about it was very exciting, exciting and shocking at the same time.
Okay.
Because we had a very good launch by Cheran sir. Me and Umapati. Umapati is the guy who played the lead in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
We both had a good, exposure and a good launch in the first place, because we had a poster launch, and that was on December 12th. And I'm a huge fan of Vijay Sethupathi sir. Like, and I always used to tell Cheran sir, like, sir, like, it would be great, if we get an opportunity to meet him, it would be amazing. I just used to blurt out among a lot of things. And apparently, luckily, we were looking for someone to launch our posters. And Vijay Sethupathi sir agreed to come.
Okay.
And he was there for the event. And I was like so excited. I was like, wow, I'm getting everything, right in a go.
Okay.
So that was another exciting thing. So I would say everything about that movie was great and amazing. I happened to meet a lot of good directors, a lot of good new directors and old directors, and a lot of team. I think I would have waited a lot otherwise to meet them. But luckily, I had an opportunity to meet them all in a go. So
yeah.
So
what are your are you working on any other projects right now? Can we get to see you on screen shortly?
Yeah, I actually just completed shooting for another Tamil film. It's with Yogi Babu sir as lead, and I'm playing a very, very interesting character in that. I mean, I am actually looking forward for this film because for people who have watched Tirumanam or Kamuki or Uremugam, they would know that I've been playing a very cute, homely, a very innocent kind of characters. But this one is like completely different from what I've played. This is a bit of ruxy and a bit of a bossy kind of character.
Okay.
So it kind of suits my personality.
Okay.
But the shoot is done. I mean, everything was done post this COVID situations, and we have done with the dubbing. And now all the other, post-production work is going on for the film. So I hope, I'm just waiting for the theaters to come back. I'm just waiting for the release. Yeah.
True. So you also, apart from this, like when asked, you also said that you create content, right? Like previous to this, during the lockdown, you were saying that you were also a content creator. So what kind of content are you into, and what do you do in content creation?
The thing is, I write, So it was just a hobby for me to kill time. But then, as soon as I just finished off college, I got a job, and it was about writing contents, educational contents, mostly for IELTS and other stuff. And I thought that it kind of pays well. So I mean, it's just like a pocket money or something. So I just thought that I'll start with it, and I kind of worked for it a bit, and I really liked what a writing job can bring. And it was very convenient also, because I'm sitting in my space and I'm writing, and I'm getting paid for the words or for the pages I write. So I kind of continue doing it. So that way I'm a content writer. But for hobby, I write short poems and some stories.
Oh, nice.
Things like that. Things what I want to express in a different way, I just write it down. So
that is about your
mostly writing works. Yes.
So mostly about what do you write? Like, people have some genre for them. Like, some people write about nature, some about emotions. What do you mostly write about? Because I get excited about these poems.
No, I told you, right? I'm more of a hobbyist when it comes to writing down my personal stuff. So I don't have a specific genre.
Okay.
For what I write, it's mostly whatever I see, whatever I feel, whatever I hear, or, with a bit of imagination here and there. Okay. But when it comes to work, I'm writing educational stuff. So it's all about a lot of English and a lot on the educational side, bringing out test papers for the people, making them work on it.
Okay.
And things like that. So, yeah.
That's nice.
So I think I'm kind of enjoying, the whole roundabout. I'm dancing, I'm writing, I'm doing this, I'm doing that.
I know, yeah.
It's kind of fun. I just keep myself occupied doing something.
So throughout this, your journey into multiple things, writing, dancing, acting, and whatnot, and also a good student, out of all these things, what was your, some part of it which you found really difficult, and I was like, this is really hard, and I don't know how am I going to cross this? What was that thing?
I would say it's acting. It was the most difficult thing for dance. Even for dance, I felt that, but maybe it's because I was trained for a long time. I knew some techniques what I can work on, to make myself better. But I told you, in terms of acting, I was completely alien. So I really had to, look into a lot of things. I wanted to observe. I had to do a study on how to control my expressions in the first place. That itself was a big task. I really know how a whole crew was so much annoyed because I couldn't control my expressions because of a small shot.
Okay.
I still remember the Anna who carries the reflector. I think it was about some 7th or 8th take or something, or maybe more than that. I don't remember now. And it was still not okay. The director was like, cut, and this Anna was like. So the moment he did that, I was like, oh, okay. So there are a lot of people who are like, going to suffer just because I'm not able to do a small expression in the right way. So, I need to control that. So actually that was very frustrating, to put 100 people on hold because of you, and everybody is staring at you like, come on, get this done already. That kind of feeling is really scary. So I wanted to get past through it, and that
would have added more pressure on you, right? Like, already you're suffering, and upon
I would say that I literally didn't sleep that whole night because it was so much of pressure, because the next day I was supposed to face these people again. And I'm supposed to work with them for another 30 days together in a place which is not home for any of us.
Okay.
We're all staying away from home, right? When you go for a shoot, when you go for a location, there are no familiar faces. Everybody is new to each other. Everybody's working there. You can't just find comfort, when you're on a shoot or something. So it was very stressful, and you're not supposed to repeat it again as well. You've made it once today, and tomorrow you're supposed to be better. So that feeling of no, I have to do better, I have to do better. That's like real pressure when you're
It
acting
was
on
let you
stage.
sleep.
Yeah. So to come across that phase, it took some time for me. It really did take some time. Yeah.
So, did you ever feel like, okay, this is not happening, I'm not doing it? Did such situations come?
No, I don't. I don't. I don't really like, to give up that way. I'm not someone who really does things like that. I wouldn't actually start, if
Mm.
I find it really difficult in the first place. Because when a movie comes, they actually narrate you the whole script and you get your scenes beforehand. So you are actually aware that you're going to do something,
Yeah,
that's going to scare you. So there is enough time to prepare. I mean, that's something what I've learned right now, that there is time to prepare. Even if it's scary, you can prepare.
yeah.
But there is no giving up. There are situations where certain dialogues and that Dan acting I have felt more difficult when dubbing. When
Mm.
you're dubbing, there will be like a small word.
Mm.
There would be a small word that needs to be pronounced properly in a certain slang
So,
or a
okay.
certain accent. But then you will not get it right there. You will keep telling the same thing, and the director will tell, no, it's not like it, it's like this, and then you will again tell the same thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so that time you feel like, oh, I'm done with this, but then you have nothing
You
else to do.
can't
You
do
have to do
anything.
it.
Yeah.
You have to do it. So there is no giving up, but there is a lot of struggle. Yeah.
So during all that struggle, what was that? Okay, like okay, you didn't feel like giving up, but it was hard. So what motivated you? I mean, like okay, one attitude is that you don't want to give up, but what was the other factors that that you thought were like, no, this not, I can't give up.
Yeah. The one thing that always I keep telling myself is there are a lot of people who wants to be in the place or in the zone what I am right now.
Mm.
I'm not again saying that it's a great zone, but again there are a lot of people who are struggling to make an appearance on screen,
True.
who just wants to be there at least for one scene or onto the background or something like that. There are people who are desperately wishing, for things to happen, and then there is me. So I'm getting the opportunity. I'm here. I'm doing it right. So this is not the phase where I'm supposed to take it for granted. I
Yeah.
cannot take these many people for granted. Like as I said, a set, how it works, there's at least like 100 people around you.
Mm.
All these people are trusting you at that point of time. They just keep staring at you. They look at you. They work for you.
Yeah.
Um, we work for each other. That's another thing. Uh, in
Yeah.
in that phase I cannot keep having a long phase or be like a baby telling them no, I can't do this, do that. No, I'm not supposed to do that. I mean,
Yeah.
that is not professional in the first place. I need to do it. I'm given this, I have to make the best of this, and that's completely in my hand and I have to
Yeah.
do it. uh, so that's one thing. And in dubbing also it's the same thing, because if
Yes.
I am going to dub for my own, it's good for me. It benefits me. I am learning a lot of things,
Yeah.
and as I said, I'm a Viscom student, and I always wanted to be on media somehow, even if it's not an
Yeah.
actress. So for me, it's like an opportunity, because a lot of them would want to be on the studio, work as an assistant, and get there. The struggle is real to get into
Yeah.
that space, and I'm there already. So do it.
So you need to
It's
value
it's
that.
everything you know already. So just do it. So yeah, that's about it.
So it's just the principle that you've got that okay, there's so many people working and they're
Yeah, it's
under the
it's just that
circle.
not taking the opportunity for granted. That's
Granted,
that's the
yeah.
important thing.
That's a real good thing that you've got, Kavya. I mean, like most of us need to understand that. In many places, we give up very easily, even if it is just a little bit more efforts that's needed, we just tend to give up and lose the whole opportunity. But since you have this, I hope it takes you to great heights. Um,
Thank you.
so, what is that one or a few things that you wish that the people around, like the public or the audience or anybody, you just wish that these things people should understand or people should have this thing, like an understanding about others. Like
I didn't quite get the question.
what I mean is there is anything that you wish people would understand? I mean, there are sometimes we talk about why are people so judgmental? Why are people not understanding? Why are not people empathetic? Like that, what do you wish people were, everybody would understand?
Uh, the, the thing is simple, it is just that you don't have to be very hard on each other. Because the generation what we are living right now, we trend all the bad things, we think that being mean is on trend, being a thug is trend, being a playboy is a trend, we set trends
Yeah,
like that, and we stand by it, like, yeah, that's cool, man, that's how you have to be. But it's definitely not, because in the end, these people who all play these roles, they're all so lonely, right? They all feel
they
so
have been a
lonely, they all
victim.
really want someone they all really want someone to talk to, and to understand better. So I think, uh, stop pretending people you're not. Like, just, as I said, being yourself is a very important thing, so you can breathe and let people breathe around you.
Yeah,
And of course, we live in a very judgmental society, but I think we are better than the generation,
yeah,
around. I think we are getting better these
better.
days.
Yeah,
Um, our generation is getting better as well.
it's
Maybe
like
because a lot of
progress.
people are, yeah, maybe because a lot of people are realizing it, and they want to make a change.
Yeah,
And there are people like you also, making people talk about things and even make them understand. Um, but the main thing is not to judge around, and there no point in body shaming, no
yeah,
gender shaming. We have all come across and beyond all these things, and there must be love, and there must be peace among everyone. Everybody deserves these things. We
true.
don't deserve getting, getting bullied, or getting called by names, or getting shamed because you're fat, you're thin. All these things doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah,
It's just love, and it's just the kind of uh, the way you treat each other matters the most.
true.
And I think when people think about you, you shouldn't be a pain in their, you shouldn't be a pain.
Understand.
There are like few people, when you just think about them, you'll be like, oh, this person is so annoying. Don't be that person in the first place.
Yeah, yeah.
Just be someone who you'll be like, ah, she's funny, she's nice, she's smart, she's cool.
Mm.
Well and good. That's
And
enough,
that
I guess.
happens by just being yourself. You don't have to force it on somebody, or you don't have to overdo anything.
Exactly. Exactly. Because right now, after Sushant Singh Rajput's case,
Yeah,
a lot of people have been preaching about, mental health, and they've been posting about mental awareness and things like that. Come talk to me if you feel anything. I think forcing positivity is also a kind of poison. You don't have to force positivity. People will go through things. If they want to cry, let they cry. You don't have to lift a person who is crying and say, "Don't cry, don't cry, don't do this, don't do that." No, don't do that at all. Let them be.
yeah,
I think we all have this up and lows, and all we can do is just stay by the person. Don't be judgmental. Let them cry, watch them cry, let them do whatever they want, but be the support so that they rise back in the life.
true.
I think that's the thing that matters than preaching and telling that be positive, just wake up feeling like this,
I
and
know.
all the drama.
True, true. That even I felt that. I mean, it's okay. Like it's enough if you have the genuine care and be there when they actually need. Instead of just telling I'm there for you and not actually being there when they actually need is, it's no use, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
I mean, we cannot be there for hundreds of people because we have a life to take care of, and that's a very practical thing.
true.
You can be there for your best person, or for your family, or for people around you. You can be that person. And when you say that you will be there for someone, you should
Be
be
there.
there.
Yeah,
You need to be there. And when someone is sharing their troubles with you, you gotta listen to them. Not keep telling them that even I had this problem. My problem was much bigger than yours. This is not any problem race competition to compare whose problem was
yeah.
worse.
Mm.
So it's better not to give such lame advices, and better be there and listen and be compassionate. That's it. That's all I hope that people will do, all their lives.
Just love and spread love, right? That's, yeah, let them be the way. You just have to do your bit by sharing some love, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. So that is it. So thank you so much, Kavya, for your time. It was really fun talking to you about all your experiences and
Thank you
all
so
that
much,
you shared.
Madhuvati.
Thank you so much. And to the audience, thank you so much for your time. And I hope that you've got nice insights from this session. Stay tuned till the next session. Until then, this is Madhumati signing off from Reach Her Podcast. We hear you, and this is a platform for all budding women out there. Thank you.
Reach Skyline. Embrace digital.